You never forget the feeling of being buried alive while knowing your friends are already gone. It's a feeling that sticks to your bones, even months later, when you're back in sunlight, back on normal streets, drinking coffee in a cafe that smells safe. But the memory never leaves. Not the darkness, not the silence, and certainly not the screaming. I should have turned back when we first approached the old Beckley coal mines in West Virginia. The place had been abandoned for decades. Rusted warning signs leaned crookedly on posts, snow and overgrown weeds swallowing the words, "Danger, mine shafts, do not enter." But of course my friends weren't scared. It started with an argument. "Come on, it'll be epic," Jason said, grinning like he'd just won a lottery. He was always looking for abandoned buildings or tunnels, something to explore, something to photograph. "I read some forum posts," Alex added, showing his phone. "People say these mines are haunted. Whole crews disappeared back in the 30s. They left tools, carts, everything. And some claim they still hear the miners' voices underground." I swallowed hard. "You're kidding, right?" "Come on," Jason said again, clapping me on the shoulder. "It's just tunnels. How scary can it be?" I should have said no. I should have walked away. But I didn't. We had backpacks, flashlights, climbing ropes, and cameras. The night was crisp, moonlight reflecting off the snow that had settled on the mine entrances. We climbed through the fallen boards that covered the main shaft. The air inside smelled like rust, damp stone, and something older, decay. My stomach tightened immediately. Flashlights on, we descended into the mine. At first it was just the usual. Narrow corridors, old wooden supports, collapsed tracks, the faint echo of dripping water. Jason was in front, flashlight swinging, camera snapping. Alex followed, notebook in hand, jotting down measurements and sketches. I brought up the rear, trying to make my breathing quiet, trying to ignore the pressure in my chest. I kept thinking about the stories. Miners trapped underground, work accidents, people who went in and never came out. But I told myself it was just history. Old bones in the walls, old tools. Not ghosts, not monsters. After about an hour, we reached a large cavern. Old carts lay abandoned on tracks that hadn't been moved in decades. Water dripped from the ceiling, forming small pools on the uneven floor. I noticed the first carving. A name scratched into a wooden support beam. E. Harris, 1934. Then another. J. Miller, 1935. I shivered. The names were precise, deliberate, and dozens of them. Every so often the letters looked fresh, like someone had been down here recently. "Probably just vandals," Jason said, brushing his hand over the wood. "Creepy, but harmless." But I knew better. My gut was screaming at me. Then came the sound. At first I thought it was an echo of dripping water, but it wasn't. It was soft at first, rhythmic, like boots against stone. And it wasn't ours. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. Jason laughed. "It's the acoustics. Relax." But then I heard it again, whispering. Names. Our names. "Matt, Matt, come here." I spun, shining my light into the dark corners of the cavern. Nothing. Alex's flashlight flickered, then went out. Darkness swallowed him instantly. "Alex!" Jason shouted. The light clicked back on, but Alex was staring ahead, eyes wide, face pale. I think I saw someone," he whispered. "No one's down here," I said. "It's just shadows." But the shadows weren't moving like shadows. They moved like shapes, lingering in the corners of the cavern, flickering in and out of sight. We continued cautiously, following what we thought was the main tunnel. That's when the ceiling creaked. A support beam cracked loudly above us. Dust fell in showers, and the ground shook. "Move!" Jason yelled. We bolted, but then the path split. We'd entered a section of the mine we hadn't planned on. Narrow, twisted, walls too close. That's when we saw the first figure. A miner. Or something that looked like a miner. His uniform was torn and covered in dirt. His face, it was blank, pale, wet as if melted. Eyes hollow. He didn't move like a person. His body jerked, twitching unnaturally. We ran. I don't know how long we ran. Minutes? Hours? Every turn the tunnels seemed to stretch farther. The sound followed. Footsteps, heavy breathing. Something scraping the walls behind us. Jason tripped and fell. I spun, trying to pull him up, but his hand slipped from mine. I couldn't stop to look back. I just ran. The whispers came again, louder, more urgent. Names, laughter, cries. And then, I heard Jason scream. I froze. Shining my flashlight behind me, I saw him. The thing had him, claws digging into his shoulders, dragging him backward into the darkness. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Just silence. Then he was gone. Alex and I ran. He was ahead, stumbling, crying, calling my name. But I felt the darkness pressing in. My flashlight flickered. My legs burned. We came to a split, and I made a choice. Left. Alex went right. I don't know how long I ran after that. The tunnels twisted endlessly. Names carved into the walls stared at me. Hundreds of them. Some of them, mine. I fell. Crawling on hands and knees, I dragged myself forward until I saw light. A faint glow. Warm. Real. I pushed myself through the debris and stumbled out into the forest above the mine. Snow was falling. Moonlight glinted off the frost. I was alone. Alex and Jason never came out. I called the authorities. Search parties were sent. They found nothing. No collapsed tunnels, no hidden shafts, no evidence anyone had been there. They said it was impossible, that no one could survive deep underground for that long. But I know what I saw, and I know what took them. Sometimes at night I hear the scraping again. Soft, deliberate. In the corner of my apartment, behind walls, in the empty streets. Footsteps. Whispers. My name. I can still feel Jason's hand slip from mine. Hear Alex's screams muffled by stone. The Beckley Mines are still there. Waiting. If you ever find yourself near abandoned mines in West Virginia, remember this. Some places are empty for a reason. Some tunnels are sealed for a reason. And some things are still down there. Watching. Waiting. I don't go near mines anymore. But I can still hear the whispering, the running footsteps. And sometimes, just sometimes, I see shapes in the dark. And I know they are never gone. If your friends went missing in a place like that, would you risk going in to save them, or accept some things are meant to be left behind? Share your thoughts in the comments.